In pickleball, the serve is arguably the most important shot in the game when used correctly. This is the shot that sets up your entire point, and people are using this shot to win matches. Today, we're going to go over what I think are the most effective serves. These are serves that I use in professional PPA matches, and I'm a player who can say that the serve is probably the strongest part of my game. The key to using these serves effectively is to know when to use them and how to mix them up. I'm going to explain to you why they're so effective, how to hit them, and when to use them. I made a video explaining the key technique secrets that I discovered to hitting the perfect backhand roll. It's been a pretty pivotal discovery for me, and I'm not going to post it on YouTube, but if you do want it, just click the link in the top comment and I'll send it to you as a thank you for your support. The first serve we're breaking down today is what I call the fastball, and it's one of my go-to weapons. This serve is fast, flat, and tough to handle. It's super linear with about 90% power and just 10% spin. What makes it so effective comes down to a few key reasons. First, your opponent has very limited time to react. Because the serve is moving so quickly through their side of the court, there's a much higher chance they'll mistime the return or overrun the shot as they try to move forward into the kitchen. Second, the serve stays low, which forces your opponent to hit up on the ball. That usually results in a higher return, giving you a much easier and more aggressive third shot. And lastly, the overall pressure this serve creates dramatically increases your chances of getting a weak or short return. I like to use this serve especially when my opponent has a clear, weaker side that I can target. This is because they simply don't have enough time to run around their weaker shot. It now forces them to deal with it. Now, let me show you what this serve looks like and how to exactly hit it. The first thing we have to think about when hitting the fastball is our trajectory. What makes this serve so effective is how linear and low it stays. So if we want to hit a linear serve, we need to make sure, one, that we have a pretty flat swing path and we're not coming under the ball too much. Two, we're extending our arm forward with a very linear motion and we're not lifting that ball while we're extending. And then three, focus on hitting the back of the ball. We're not trying to get under this ball, we're hitting the back of the ball and we're extending forward with that back contact there. Now let's talk about swing and mechanics. The first thing for swing and mechanics is going to be our legs. For any power serve, you need to make sure that you are using your legs and your hips. So if you have a closed stance when you serve, this is gonna be very ideal because you can take this back leg and as you're hitting, you can generate power into the court and kind of throw your right hip into that serve. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing I want us to focus on is going to be a loose arm. If we're having tension in our arm, this is gonna kill power. We need to make sure that we have a light grip, a loose arm, and that we're allowing a nice whip through that ball. But remember, because we're focusing on power versus spin here, we wanna make sure that we're not whipping that ball up, and instead we're still hitting the back of the ball with a loose arm. Pair this with arm extension towards your target, and you're gonna have a great swing. We want to use this serve on someone who returns pretty close to the baseline, as well as someone who likes time on the return due to a bigger backswing or they run around their backhand. This serve can be deadly when playing someone who isn't comfortable hitting a backhand because it rushes them and doesn't give them time to run around that return. This serve is a must-have in the arsenal. The next serve we're going to talk about is the kick serve, which is personally one of my favorites. When I hit it well, it's one of the most effective serves in my game. I hit it with a higher trajectory and heavy topspin, which causes the ball to jump and pushes the returner back. What makes this serve so effective is how tough it is to time. When hit correctly, the ball jumps into my opponent, forcing them to hang back and adjust, making it harder for them to move through the return. This often leads to something short or weak. Hitting serves with lots of spin can also create more bad bounces, which will eventually go in your favor. On top of that, the serve feels heavy. It has topspin, which adds that extra weight and depth, making it harder to attack. It's one of those serves that just wears your opponent down. Let me show you exactly how to hit it and exactly how to use it effectively. Let's talk about swing and trajectory for the kick serve. So the main thing is having a nice arc, because we want that ball to go high over the net and bounce into our opponent, creating that heavy feel. How we do this is we make sure that we're lifting the ball over the net by getting our paddle beneath the ball and lifting up. So we're gonna get topspin from dropping that paddle head and coming under the ball, lifting it up, creating that trajectory. So that's number one. Two is gonna be making sure that we're using our legs. Like I said, the legs are so important when you're hitting power serves, but it's also very important when you're trying to lift that ball up, because if you get your legs under that ball, you're gonna get extra force that's lifting that ball and then gonna help it come down with the topspin. So those are the first two things. And lastly, make sure that you have a loose grip, especially when you're trying to hit topspin, because what's gonna happen is your wrist is naturally gonna dip when it lags. If it's loose, if you have tension, this isn't gonna happen. And then you're gonna be able to brush over the ball more, giving it that topspin. Like all effective serves, with the kick serve, we need to make sure that we're aiming in the back third of our opponent's court. If we can make sure that that ball is coming high and then landing here, what's gonna happen is it's gonna kick into our opponent. So when someone's returning and they're trying to move through this ball, it's already deep and it's bouncing in. It's gonna make them hold back and have to adjust here. This is where we're gonna get a lot of the missed timing and weird reactions from our opponent, because it's a very uncomfortable feeling. So make sure that you're aiming in the back third of your opponent's court for the maximum effectiveness of the kick serve. One more thing I want to add on the technique for the kick serve is I'm trying to emphasize the C a little more to help get under that ball. So for the fastball, I'm really hitting the back of the ball and I'm going linear, but on the kick serve, I'm using a little more of a C here to get under that ball and lift it. This is going to generate a little more arc and better trajectory for the kick serve. One of my favorite parts about the kick serve is even if they don't miss the return, a lot of times I know that return is going to be short or high. Because it's got a lot of topspin on it, that ball is going to spin up off their paddle. So it's going to come up and I'm going to see the result on my third shot and I can hit down on that third shot. So let me show you an example here. If I give him a very heavy kick serve here, then his return is going to be high and short. As you see there, it's spun up off his paddle, so I'm able to get an ideal third shot. Lastly, let's break down one of the most underrated and underutilized serves in all of pickleball, sometimes controversial even, the screwball serve. Most players don't even mix this into their game, and fewer know how to hit it well. This makes it a dangerous weapon when used at the right time. I'm not gonna lie, I thought the serve was gimmicky for the longest time, but I've totally flipped the switch and have started to add it into my own game. The screwball serve is hit with maximum side spin, causing the ball to curve dramatically into your opponent's court. It's unpredictable, it's really awkward to track, and it completely throws off timing and balance. Even at the pro level, I've seen players use this like a changeup, catching their opponents off guard and forcing errors. What makes this serve so effective is the surprise factor. Most players don't expect it, and once it bounces, it becomes really difficult to read or redirect. You'll see players panic, mistime their return, or get pulled off the court entirely. This opens up a lot of space for your third shot. At the higher level, most players will be able to get this shot back, but it's the weak third shot and their bad court positioning that is going to give you the edge. Let me show you how to hit the screwball serve, when to use it, and how to start working it into your own serve strategy. Let's talk about our goal when hitting the screwball serve. So we want to make sure that it's low over the net, so it's got a low trajectory, but the main thing is that it's spinning either into our opponent or taking them off the court. So if we want it to spin into our opponent, we're gonna have to hit it down the middle so that it curves into them. And then vice versa, which is definitely a tougher serve, by the way, because you're playing with lower margin, is you're gonna hit this wide serve here that takes them off the court. So Very important that we know the higher risk serve is going to be this wider serve, and the better serve to hit, the better margin is going to be this one down the middle that curves into them, okay? We want to make sure that we have a very, very loose grip. This is going to help with elbow snap here, which is going to get some of that spin. And then we also want to make sure that we're starting our serve like we're hitting any other serve. We don't want to give a tell at the beginning of the serve that we're going to hit the screwball serve. We want it to look like we can hit a topspin serve. So how do we hit this serve? We're going to go into our motion here, and we're going to take this arm back with our paddle tip down, starting at our right hip, okay? Once we get this ball here, we're going to go forward and swing fast from our right hip out to our left hip. So we're going to curve this way, trying to get around that ball to give it that side spin. It's very important that this paddle tip is down and that we're swinging fast from our right hip to our left hip in order to get that paddle head speed. However, we want to make sure that we're not going full power, because if we were to swing as hard as we could, connecting the ball with full power, it's going to go long. You want to hit a little bit less of the ball. We're not going to hit the back of the ball as much. We're just trying to curve it and focus on spin rather than power. So we're going to go from our right hip to our left. A big mistake that people make is they have their weight transfer this way, which is where their arm's going. We want to make sure that our weight is still transferred forward towards our target. However, our arm is in control of the spin. So if we have a really light grip here and we're coming from our right hip to our left, getting around that ball, that's going to create the spin, and then our weight transfer is going to create the direction of where that ball is going. So I'm swinging very fast from my right hip to my left, but my weight is still going this way. That's going to give me the best result. So when do we use this serve? We use this serve as a changeup. We shouldn't be throwing this serve in all the time. One, because it is low percentage, right? It's a very hard serve to hit. But two, we want to make sure that our opponent isn't just reading the spin and getting used to it. It's more of a change-up serve that throws our opponent off rather than a serve that's going to consistently win us 3 points. Unless your opponent just can't figure it out, but at the higher levels, they're going to be able to figure it out. So use it sparingly, but definitely mix it into your game. Bonus tip, if you really want to make this serve insane, you can use a little momentum behind it like this. So I can walk into the serve and I can really give like an extra spin to it, which is going to be super effective, but it is a little tougher to calibrate and also master that. Those are the 3 most effective serves in pickleball: the fastball, the kick serve, and the screwball. Each one gives you a unique advantage, and when you know how to mix them up, you make it nearly impossible for your opponent to get comfortable. The serve isn't just a formality, it's a weapon, and the players who take time to master variety are the ones who control the pace of the game and set themselves up the right way. Mix these serves in with intention and you'll see the effect. If this video helped you, make sure to subscribe and stay locked in. I'll see you in the next one.